What is going on, YouTube? This is Sports Debate here, bringing you our thoughts on the Week 1 of the NFL New Year for 2016-2017. So, first game that happened, it was before every other game. Panthers-Broncos, rematch of the last Super Bowl. As we all know, the Broncos beat the Panthers, and here we go again with the first game of the year. Broncos vs. Panthers, and the Broncos win. So, what are your thoughts on that, Jason?
I feel like the Broncos are pretty lucky to win that game because I feel like they got away with a lot of illegal hits, and it showed early on in the first half when they didn't do all those blindside helmet-to-helmet hits. They kind of suffered on it on defense, so I feel like they got pretty lucky with that.
Well, in all honesty, I think it was a pretty fair game because the Panthers could have won that for field goal. They didn't. Broncos sure did get away with one, but it was a really fun game to watch. Definitely more interesting to watch than the Super Bowl because the Super Bowl was like boring the whole time. Honestly, That was like one of the worst Super Bowls I've watched, personally.
It was a good day for the Panthers. Their top leading receiver, Kelvin Benjamin, had a great
Yeah, and Benjamin, if he's playing good, losing Josh Norman, it means something, but if Benjamin's playing good, Panthers can be back where they were, but the Panthers, in all honesty, I don't think they'll be good as they were last year. But anyways, next game, Minnesota versus Tennessee. Watching this game, the Titans they looked pretty good to begin with, but it was mistake after mistake in the second half, where the Vikings scored all their 25 points in the second half. What happened there?
I feel like the Vikings defense was stepping up their play. Later on, they had 2 defensive touchdowns, but Tennessee didn't really execute well on offense.
Yeah.
I feel like there was a sloppy plays and receivers weren't making plays either. They had to rely on their running backs to make catches. So.
Definitely. And this is a tough loss for the Titans because they started off good too, but they lost after. Now, the Bears and Texans, this one isn't surprising to me. The Texans, they're an underrated team. They're a great defensive team as well. They're versing a struggling Chicago Bears team. Honestly, I don't take anything out of it. It's a normal game for me. Nothing really surprising happened.
Osweiler, he was pretty good in this first game.
Yeah, so pretty much the Texans pulled out a dub. That's pretty standard. Everybody knew that was going to happen. Alright, Eagles, Browns. First game for RG3 playing as a QB for the Browns. Browns, they didn't play terrible in the first half. I will give them that. They didn't play terrible. But after the first half, it just went all downhill. The Eagles scored over half their points in the second half. The Browns they gave away a safety. All these type of little mistakes added on to this huge margin. What exactly happened to the Browns in the second half?
You know what? It wasn't just bad defense, but the offense didn't really make plays either. RG3 didn't have a great time. Had a hard time trying to find receivers to make plays. Kind of scrambled a bit, but in the end, it doesn't really amount to much. They just need better offense, in my opinion.
Exactly. So the Eagles pulled out the first dub, and the Cleveland Browns obviously falling to 0-1 for counting.
Carson Wentz, the rookie, with his first NFL start, was pretty good.
He played really good today. No one expected that, but that's always a good thing to see as a rookie playing good. Ravens, Bills. If you want to talk about a game that wasn't that appealing or interesting, it's this game. The Bills only scored once. It was a really defensive game because they only scored one time. And the other quarters, they didn't even get a field goal in. So Ravens playing really, really good defense there. The offense struggled a bit, but their defense made it up, kind of like the Broncos Super Bowl. What's your take on it?
Ravens definitely impressed me with their defense enough. The Bills, their offense really disappointed me. They have a lot of weapons, and I don't know if it's just the defense or if they had a bad, they just had an off day, but Bills struggled on offense, and they kind of played pretty decent defense, but you need a little more offense than that.
Yeah, that's true. Good game by the Ravens though for only allowing them 7 points. So the Chargers, Chiefs. Everybody was like, Chargers are going to get wrecked, like destroyed by the Chiefs. But what happened? The Chiefs came out losing by like 18 points. What was it, 21-3 in the first half? Everyone's like, what's going on with the Chiefs? Like, are the Chargers actually going to do something about this? But no, in the fourth quarter, they allowed the Chiefs to have 2 touchdowns and a field goal. And to me, that's poor defense by the Chargers. This is like the biggest heartbreaking loss of the day. The Chargers threw a lead they had, which no one expected, and they lost it. So they're going to be demotivated for the next few weeks. What is your take on this?
I think the Chargers want to come out strong and make a statement that they're not as bad as people think they are, and they did pretty good. Their rookie from last year, Melvin Gordon, not scoring at all last year, had 2 touchdowns in the first half. I feel like the Chargers did a pretty good job, and it might demoralize them for now, but I think they can bounce back from it looking at today.
Credit to the Chargers for working that hard to even giving the Chiefs that much trouble, and credit to the Chiefs obviously for making a comeback because they're down a lot. This personally is the game of the day in my opinion. Raiders, Saints. I mean, you talk about 2 sides that both played really good. It was only a 1-point differential that determined who's going to go up 1-0, who's going to go down 0-1. And Drew Brees ended up with 418 yards in passing and 5 touchdowns, 4 touchdowns. To me, that's like, no one expected that. No one did.
Yeah, and I feel like Drew Brees doesn't get enough credit. You know, when you mention elite quarterbacks,
exactly.
He's usually up there. And
Drew Brees is definitely one of those underrated quarterbacks, especially when it comes to talking about elite quarterbacks. You think of Aaron Rodgers or Tom Brady or Cam Newton or Russell Wilson. You're not going to think of Drew Brees. Definitely not. The Raiders, they scored 22 points. The Saints' defense was looking really good throughout 3 quarters, but the final one, they just gave up like 22 points. That's unacceptable. But either way, this game was really good for both sides. Heartbreaking for the Saints. I'm a Saint fan too. So I didn't want to see that, but it happened, and the Saints just got to come back stronger next week against the Giants. Okay, Buccaneers and Falcons. Now in this game we saw, it was pretty fun to watch, honestly. Jameis Winston honestly looked like a really, really good QB this game. He looked much improved from last year. And that's what you always want to see in a league. You always want to see the rookies always doing better than next year. So what is your take on this?
I think Jameis had a really good game, and he has a good connection with all his receivers. Does a great job to utilize the weapons he has, and I think the Buccaneers definitely deserve this win because the Falcons play very poorly, poor offensive execution, and poor defense as well, giving up 4 touchdowns. So
yeah. Alright, so Bengals, Jets. This game kind of went back and forth, but it ultimately went to the Bengals. The Jets played pretty nicely in the beginning, but the Bengals obviously took the dub in the end. What exactly happened to the Jets?
Jets, I would say their receivers didn't.
Huh? Okay, I don't know what happened to Jason exactly. It might be some technical difficulty. But pretty much, the Jets had an okay lead in the beginning, but obviously they threw it away with scoring none in the third quarter. They did get more points in the fourth, but ultimately it went to the Bengals. Really close game, but that's all for that game. Packers and Jaguars. Now, here's the thing. People thought that Packers would destroy or demolish the Jaguars, but in all honesty, the Jaguars are kind of underrated. Because when you think of the Jaguars, you're gonna think like they exist, but they gave the Packers some trouble, that's for sure. And what's really important to know is that every NFL team you see is in the NFL for a reason. So you can't, in the NFL, anything can happen. Okay, anything can happen. That's what happened here, but except the Packers came out in the end, they came out to win. And it's a good start for both teams. Even though the Jaguars lost, it's always a good sign to only lose by 4 to an elite team. And I have the Packers winning it all this year. I don't know why, but I just have a feeling. Giants, Cowboys. I was watching this game, and I was cheering for the Giants. No hatred towards Cowboys, but watching this game was just back and forth constantly. the Giants just couldn't score. When the Cowboys couldn't score, they couldn't defend. Like, it was like really hard. They just kept on making mistakes at the same time. It was just the team that was not going to make the mistakes the other team does. So ultimately in the end, Eli Manning passed it off to his tight end and they won the game. Dallas, they're catching up. They're trying to move the chains pretty well. Didn't happen. Ended off they're 0-1. But Prescott and Elliott both played really, really good, and that's what's important. And honestly, their young core looks really nice. The Cowboys' young core is really nice, and Jason actually joined back. And now we're going to talk about the last game of this Sunday. New England and Arizona. You don't have Gronk. You don't have Tom Brady. But you still pull out the win. How does that happen?
I think it's just, I think people look at Gronk and Brady too much. I think the Patriots have a lot more weapons than just those two. Edelman and LeGarrette Blunt, and of course their kicker got them like 14 points, I think, Kostowski, and their defense too made some key stops.
Yeah.
I feel like the Patriots are being underrated by a lot of people just because they don't have Brady.
Yeah, definitely. The Patriots have much more than just Brady. So when people think Brady retires, it's over. Patriots, still a top team in the AFC, beat the Cardinals, and people thought the Cardinals are the second best team in the league. So, so I think, honestly, that it was a good game by both teams. Sure, the Cardinals struggled early, but as you can see, they scored touchdowns in second, third, and fourth quarter, which the Patriots did not do. But Patriots came away with the win. So the games that are rest for this week, Steelers and Redskins. What do you think's gonna happen with that?
Who are the Steelers playing again?
Redskins, and it's at Washington.
Redskins. Well, I think naturally the Redskins are gonna pull out the win here because being at home always helps. But Steelers obviously missing Le'Veon Bell. But they also miss Martavis Bryant from suspension, and I think Big Ben needs more than just one player to make a difference for them. And Josh Norman can really help with limiting Antonio.
Definitely, but it can go either way in my opinion. The Redskins did get Josh Norman; they're a great team, but the Steelers are also a Super Bowl title contending team, which everybody thinks every single year because they're the Steelers. So it's kind of interesting to see how that's going to turn out tomorrow, and. You gotta give your favorite to Redskins because they do have home court and they have less suspensions or injuries than the Steelers do. So I'm gonna give it to the Redskins as well, but who knows? Now, last one, the first game that the Rams are playing as a LA Ram, but they won't be playing in LA. They'll be playing in San Francisco, taking on the 49ers. I personally think that the Rams will pull away with this win, but like I said before, home court always helps. What do you think about this?
Home court does help, but I feel like the Rams just have much more, have a lot more versatility than the 49ers. The 49ers are they're still in a mess right now with who should start and who gets more touches, and the Rams have an elite defense that ranks them on the top in the NFL, and they have a quarterback issue, but it shouldn't be that much of a problem if they have Todd Gurley.
Yeah, definitely, and that's gonna be an interesting game. I'll definitely be watching. Wait, would I be able to watch? No, I won't be able to watch it. But it's gonna be a great game to see the highlights of, and that concludes our Week 1 thoughts of our NFL. Tune in. We'll be posting another NFL video, relevant and irrelevant NFL teams, and for next week, we'll do this week by week. Our thoughts on every single game for Week 2, 3, 4. All the way to 17. So, thank you guys for watching. I'll see you guys next time. Peace out, guys.